All right, it is Thursday. It is game day for the Lions. And about, 5 hours or so?
8:20.
Yep.
What is it? 3:50. 4.5 hours.
4.5 hours, right here on
You
WILX.
gonna be okay?
No,
What are you gonna do if they lose?
not coming to work tomorrow.
What are you gonna do if they get blown out?
Not coming to work
But it
tomorrow.
doesn't take much for you to say, well, I'm not coming in tomorrow.
No, it doesn't actually. But there is a lot of excitement, not only just because of the Lions playing, but it kicks off the entire NFL regular season tonight too. They're going to be in Kansas City, where the Chiefs are raising their second banner in 4 years.
It's going to be a happening play. You think the Lions fans are excited? What do you think they're like in Kansas City? And they've got something to fall back on because they've proved everything, right?
Oh, I thought you were going to say they had a good baseball
They've
team.
won 8 straight opening games. You know what
That's pretty
Mahomes
good.
has done in his career in opening games? 18 touchdowns, no interceptions.
No interceptions in any of the opening games.
None.
None.
It's not an opinion. I'm just giving you the numbers.
All right.
Take it for whatever it's worth. That was then, this is now. Maybe that'll change tonight. Maybe
It
it'll
might.
be 24 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Or the other way around. You know, hope springs eternal, right?
Well, what do the Lions have to do to make sure that they make a statement to the league tonight?
Knock Mahomes out of the game.
Knock them out of the game?
Well, look, Kansas, I looked at all the national, by the way, what is that up there? What is all
That I'm playing?
Well, what's all that video?
This is the hype video released by the Detroit Lions on their YouTube page earlier today.
Well, first of all, let's not overemphasize the first game of the season. There's 17 of them, okay? And they started 0-10 2 years ago and 1-6 last year. So that's 1-16, and off of that start, everybody's excited about this year. So in a season that long, one game win or lose is not anything to overreact to, in my opinion, either way, even with a win. And I think what's more significant in the NFL than any other area of football, injuries occur more often in the NFL. And that guy right there, number 16, they better protect him. If they lose him, I'm not sure they'll win a game because I don't think they have the backup quarterback, and I don't think Bridgewater's a guy. And when Stafford went out, they never won a game with a backup.
Right.
Now, it's Kansas City's going after Goff. But then the Lions are going after Mahomes. But Mahomes is tough to catch. That's why he's
He is
done
quick.
as well. He's tough. He's hard to catch. He's very good at avoiding hits. When he runs with it, which is part of what they do, he knows how to slide and avoid being hit. He does. I mean, he's been hurt. Don't get me wrong. They've hurt him. I mean, if you get hit long enough, then it goes dark on you. One way or the other, it might go dark on you.
Yeah.
I said today on the radio, 27-17 Kansas City.
27-17.
Doesn't mean that's
Kansas
what
City.
If I had to pick something, just a guess, that's just a guess. Just like any other prediction, it's just a guess, one way or the other.
All right. So you kind of
You sound a little down about that.
You always bring me down.
Well, then why am I still on here with you? Get somebody that'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. That ain't me. Yeah, ask David. He'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. And by
Let's ask
the way,
the Packers
tell
fan.
David, I'm the only one in town besides him that thinks Green Bay will win at Chicago on Sunday. A lot of people, although I think it'll be close to a 1-point game. That's the big
I
game
picked
on
Green Bay
Sunday.
at Chicago.
Well, the Bears are better, and they think they're like the Lions. So
You're not. But
I think that
Kip says this is going to be
I
loss
think
number
win or
one.
lose. In fact, if the Lions win tonight, I'm not sure I want to be around you tomorrow because you'll be too up in the clouds and too giddy. You know what
You
I
better
mean?
tell your
You'll
crew
be-
in there to
You'll
tag in.
be too giddy.
I'm not going to be giddy. I'm going to be optimistic, but I am cautiously optimistic. Just like with the Red Wings, there's a lot of hype about them. I do think they will be better than last year. I do not think they will make the playoffs.
With the Red Wings?
Yep.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
I know.
I mean, hockey season to me begins when the snow's on the ground.
That's coming, by the way.
And I don't think anybody should overreact to a win or a loss in the first game of the season.
At what point do we react?
Well, it's a long season.
Six
Like
games
last
in?
year, they were playing the last game to make the playoffs after starting 1-6. I mean, the playoffs are so expanded, you don't have to have a great record to make them. Now, what they need to do is to get a home game. In the playoffs, you got to get a home game. If you go on a road in the playoffs, especially if you're a wild card, how many games? You got to win a lot of games just to get to the conference title. If you go on a road in the playoffs, it's hard to win. But in their case, since they haven't won a playoff game since 1991, I don't even know if you were born yet.
I was.
Since 1991. So that being the case, I mean, I think the NFC North is not going to get decided till the last week or two of the season.
I like that.
I think it'll be that close all the way around. I think somebody could be 11-6, 10-7, and could win it or tie for it because I think they're all equal going in. But what you don't know in the NFL when you make predictions, and none of them do, who's going to get injured, how many injuries, how good is your backup, and do you lose your quarterback? Because none of the 32 teams in the NFL, for the most part, have a backup quarterback who's going to make a huge difference. Dallas had it with Cooper Rush for 5 games, but Dallas didn't win the NFL title last year when they got their star back. But you can't, if you lose your starter in the NFL, well, at any level of football, certainly, but in the NFL, if he's gone, I don't know how to break this to you. But then get the hockey sticks out because it's going to be a long fall if he goes out. And he's got to play well. What if he doesn't play as well? He's a year older. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you get to, and he's what is he now, 31, 2, whatever he is? It isn't automatic that year to year to year that an athlete professionally is going to automatically play better than what he or she did the year before. You anticipate that and you hope that.
He's actually 28.
Is that what he is?
He'll turn 29 during the season.
Well, I mean, look, he's their hope. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he plays well, they're. But I'm listening to all these national guys today talking about how poorly they played on defense last year, and yet they've got 5 or 6 new starters on defense. So are those guys the same, better, or worse? That's why you play the game. But I'll tell you, there are easier places to play than Kansas City. Call me crazy. There are easier places to play than Kansas City.
We've had a live shot. I don't have it up right now, but we've had a live shot of Arrowhead Stadium all day, and I've heard that.
Wait till you see it tonight. It isn't going to look like it is today.
All right.
Wait till you see it after the game.
Depending on what happens.
Always in Kansas City, the stadium right next door hosts one of the weakest baseball teams in Major League Baseball in the Royals. And right next door, in the same market, same parking lot, the Chiefs are 2-time Super Bowl champs the last 4 years.
And aren't those stadiums in like a strange part of town?
I don't know where they are. They're in the same parking lot. You need more parking spaces for the Chiefs than you do the Royals.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they're like kind of like on the edge of town in like an industrial
section. I'm trying
section.
to figure out what tomorrow's going to be like for me if the Lions get blown out. I can bring you some Librium, I can bring you some Xanax, I can bring you some Valium.
Oh, yeah.
I can bring you, I can bring you anything that'll kind of get you out of your bad mood.
Yeah, it's kind of southeast of actual the actual Kansas City area. Both stadiums are kind of like off to the side.
I think you would be tougher to deal with off a Lions win than a Lions loss.
You know what? I'll take that. I'm going to be so nice to you tomorrow no matter what.
Would be tougher. Yeah, you say that now, but what if it's a bad call that costs them the game?
There's at least 5 people in here who heard me say that.
What if there's a bad call?
If there's a bad call that costs a game no matter what, I don't think that's right, even if it's to benefit the team that I am cheering for, because that sets the tone.
Let me tell you, every Lions fan, if you asked them right now, would you take a victory on a bad call by the officials, every one of them would say, absolutely. You were taking the W, We get enough bad calls that go against us during the year, we'll take the bad call.
Early in the season, yeah, but as it gets down to the wire, you don't want to win on a bad call. Just like you don't want to win a hockey game on a bad goal.
If I was a player coach at any level from major college football on, I don't care how I get that win. You guys can all say whatever you want, but it's in the W column. There's no problem with the cheesy. They're not rooting for you or against you, these officials. And what it'll be on pass interference, because that call to me is impossible. Impossible in the NFL is to call pass interference. All they do is tackle each other going down a field. So who's guilty and who's innocent?
Just like goaltender interference.
Well,
the same thing.
It's a hard call to make, especially in the NFL. When I grew up, the defender could not touch the receiver. Simple as that. Now they do a waltz going down the field with each other. If they were in ballroom dance competition, receiver, defender could win that thing in uniforms. That's how much they're embraced with each other, trying to either make a play one way or the other, offense or defense. You watch tonight, when the ball goes down the field, either quarterback, you watch how those guys are absolutely in each other's face mask, and then the official has to figure out who's guilty and who isn't. Now, if it was my call, you can't touch the receiver. If you touch the receiver and the ball's in the air, it's interference. So
yeah.
Now, if you go after it and you hit the ball and there's some contact in there, maybe there's some leeway. I just think that it's impossible to call in the NFL because they both are on each other all the way down the field, and then hope they can persuade the officials. Don't look at me. It wasn't my fault.
They do that almost immediately as soon as it happens. So
if
you can see
a pass interference call goes against the Lions, you'll immediately say it's a bad call. Just like every other home fan. The Chiefs fans will be the same way if it goes against Kansas City. You're not the only one. Don't worry. I mean, this is, it's even inaccuracy across the board, both ways.
Well, other than the Lions, what else is going on in the sports world today that you guys are working on?
That's such a dominant story. The Michigan State medical staff just put out a statement explaining how they allowed Alante Brown to get back in the game after he was injured on the first play of the Central Michigan game. Obviously, somebody's been criticizing him for letting him back in. And they do say at the very end he's in concussion protocol. They're all trying to do their best. They don't want to hurt the kid. The kid wants to play, and one of those things. Now, whether he plays against Richmond or not, that I don't know. And the statement said he had mild concussive symptoms the next day, which would have been Saturday.
Right.
And usually they all err to the conservative side, but if you have to put out a statement to explain what you did, then somebody's probably criticizing. Although I've heard this all the way. Fred thought it was a bad look to put him back. I didn't even know he was back in the game. I was too busy watching Central Michigan to see if their offense was ever going to score in the second half more than anything else. So we got that. We have an interview with a Mason football coach who was named the Detroit Lions Michigan High School Coach of the Week. He's on. And then again, we got a lot of news today, so whether or not we get past the Lions or not, stay tuned.
Well,
that's the great thing about being here. You just kind of do what feels good.
Yeah.
Or what doesn't.
That's what's good about this desk. So you
just sit here and do whatever.
Feels right. You get to talk to people one-on-one. How often do you get to do that?
I don't know, but if they lose, I'm going to bring in some vials of pills tomorrow, and you can take whatever you want. You'll feel better. You'll forget
I think if Ann just fills her candy jar, I might be okay. Because there's one piece of candy left in that candy jar. But the Lions-Chiefs game is on NBC, and you can catch it right here, 8:20, correct? Because there was some...
And that's way too late. Why do we
But
need...
it's 7:20 Kansas City time.
Well, I understand that, but tell Kansas City, the rest of the country... it's a working day tomorrow. You may take the day off because for whatever, but for everybody else, that game won't end till after 11:30, and you got to have all the post game. So what time that Joey's on? Well, Joey's got the sport because Fred wanted the comp day to go watch the game at home. It's not baseball either.
You approved it.
I don't approve it.
Oh, okay.
Anything he does, I don't approve. If you get my drift, I don't approve of anything he does. If that's what you're asking me.
Well, we will be on as soon as the Lions-Chiefs game is completed. It might be a little bit later than our normal 11.
It's like around this place tomorrow if the Lions lose tonight on a really bad call. Just a robbery call at the end of the game. And the officials run off before, then they show the replay, and oh my golly, that was a bad call. And what if the Chiefs say, it's kind of a hollow win here tonight. We admit it was a bad call, but it went our way. So be it. We'll see.
I don't know. To me, I even with hockey, I don't like it when a team wins on something controversial. It kind of takes away from all of the effort put forth by the team.
I kind of like that because it's great for stress. It causes
causes chaos.
Controversy's great for this business. Controversy's great. It's tremendous.
When I wore my Western Michigan and Michigan stuff to the Central Michigan State game, just causing chaos just to cause chaos.
A fish out of water.
I was. You could tell. All right. Well, that's what we have coming up. Don't forget, it is on NBC. You can catch it right here. We'll also have updates.
Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe.
Thank you, Tim.
I'll bring some laxatives and I'll bring some tranquilizers.
I just need dark chocolate, and
You're
we'll be
gonna need
fine.
Tranquilizers more if they win than if they lose. There you go.
Thanks.